Hey, short film, please let me make it. What's up? It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite animes. And today I'm going to be doing a quick anime review on Kotaro Lives Alone, or in Japanese, Kotaro wa Hitori Gurashi. So so in my best animes of the year list, I included this as one of these spots. Actually, it ended up as number 5, and that's because this anime is extremely underrated, and I would like to talk about it. This anime is also I'm sorry if I sound really tired and broken right now because A, I didn't sleep much today. B, I just spent like 40 minutes continuously doing and redoing a speech for my public speaking class. So my mouth is broken, but I still have to talk about this anime because I love animes. So Kotaro Lives Alone is a manga written and illustrated by Tsumura Mami, and it is adapted into an anime by Leiden Films. It is licensed by Netflix, and it is released as an ONA, an original network animation. It's not released on TV at all. And maybe because of that, there's no hype for this anime at all. Like, no one's talking about this anime. I literally haven't heard a single other person mention this anime at all. And it's kind of sad because this anime is amazing. It's a really special anime. You will only find out about this anime if you're a Letterboxd user, because this is the highest rated anime in 2022 and also the 22nd highest rated anime of all times as of now, surpassing Sonny Boy and Fooly Cooly. What? So yeah, even though I still love Sonny Boy more than Kotaro Lives Alone, and I haven't watched Fooly Cooly, but still, that is a huge deal. So I ended up watching this anime because I thought to myself, hey, is it really that good? And I went into this anime thinking, okay, it's just going to be one of those comedy slice of life animes, and I usually don't really enjoy that sort of stuff. But this anime is actually not really comedy. Yeah, it's funny, but painfully so. This anime unfolds childhood traumas like no other animes. It's quite crazy. So essentially, Kotaro is a 4-year-old kid, and he lives alone because of some strange circumstances, right? Because maybe his parents left him. We don't really know yet in the beginning. But he lives alone in this apartment complex, and in this apartment complex, he met a few neighbors. This Karino guy, who is a manga artist, who is kind of a shut-in guy who has a very dead expression, who's always dead inside. A really cheerful girl, played by Hayami Saori, as well as this very fancily dressed guy who looks like a yakuza, and he's very expressive and stuff. And throughout the whole anime, he also meets many other people. In a convenience store. This lawyer who keeps giving Kotaro life allowances, which are actually the life insurance from his mom. But the lawyer has to lie, saying, "Oh, it's actually from a kind person, donation from a kind person." And Kotaro basically meets a lot of people. So yeah, first of all, the OPs and the EDs, they're both beautiful. The OP is a very bright, young, lively, sort of a classic anime opening, but it's not like a classic shonen formula. It's a very classic child anime formula. It's got the very crazy, fun, wild sort of animation, and the music is sort of like that as well. It's like Doraemon OP. It just reminds me of that. It's just very much a childish thing, but I love it. It fits so well with the story and with the quiet, laid back tone that this anime is going for. And ED is beautiful, especially the second ED, where it's so dense and beautiful. It's like a pack of fireworks exploding in the most loving and endearing way possible. It's really cool. Kind of reminds me of like Awabe Ichiko, maybe some of the more exciting, some of the more musically dense works by her. So that's really good. And also on episode 2, there's a special OP that actually uses real life footage. There are not a lot of animes right now that use actual real life footage, so I really enjoy that. And I also love the score for Kotaro Lives Alone. It's very beautiful, very minimalist, very light. It sometimes has these heartfelt and gorgeous pianos with great chord progressions, and then sometimes we have the easygoing steel drums, and I love hearing steel drums in a freaking anime. It kind of reminds me of Natsuyasumi Band, and I love that band. You know, I love the band's music on Sonny Boy. But anyways, first of all, there are two major points in this anime. Now, this is slice of life, so don't expect the story to be coherent and cohesive and progressive or anything like that. Essentially, it has a structure of a slice of life anime. Every episode, we have 3 to 6 skits, mostly 6 skits, and one skit is really short. So one episode can be about 23 minutes long without OP and ED, so it's actually 26 minutes long, 27 minutes sometimes. But essentially, it's like about 4 minutes per skit sometimes. Sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes 8 minutes. And we just have these skits from here on out, like time to time. You know, it jumps around a little bit. It's not really necessarily in a chronological order or something. It just happens, and that's pretty much it. I imagine that Kotaro Lives Alone is the kind of manga you just get bored one night, you don't have much to do, and you just read a few pages and then you go to bed. And then on the next day, you read 2 pages and then you go to bed. It's just that kind of manga. It's not the kind of manga you would binge watch very passionately or anything. No, it's just a very laid back kind. It's kind of like Mushishi in a sense. But one major point I would like to say is that this anime doesn't explain Kotaro's past, but the story uses his behavior now in present day to reflect his past. And that's actually kind of ingenious. So there are tiny moments of flashback where we see Kotaro being neglected by his mom and being abused by his dad, but you would never be able to tell. I mean, you would kind of guess, but all you can do is guess. You look at Kotaro's behavior now, you know, how he acts, and you can sort of tell, oh, those are symptoms, those are signs that he was sort of a victim of neglect and abuse, but you can never really tell for sure. And that's really amazing because it just puts you right there beside Kotaro. You're observing Kotaro just like his neighbors are observing him and realizing what actually happened to him. And again, there are so many skits where we don't really know what's going on at first. We don't know why he's acting that way, but then at the very end it is revealed, and it's just like, oh, every time it's revealed, it's just like, oh my god. The tissue box one is particularly famous and talked about on the reviews of Letterboxd, because in the beginning of the skit we see Kotaro buying expensive tissue boxes, and Kotaro is like, oh, I buy these expensive tissues because they're sweet. And at first we don't really know why. Karino doesn't really know why. Why are you saying that it's sweet? And then he found out that when children are being neglected and when they're hungry and nobody cooks food for them, they eat tissue. This is why Kotaro was like, oh, this tissue is sweet, because he eats tissue before. And throughout that episode, we never see a flashback scene, a dramatic flashback where Kotaro is eating tissue. We never see that. But through his behaviors in the present day, we're able to guess that, and it's so heartbreaking. And also on episode 2, where we learn that Kotaro really loves watching this boring ass anime called Tono-saman, only because he gets bored, because nobody talks to him, and the only way he finds any sort of entertainment is through the TV and through this anime. So he became really into this anime when nobody else in the world are into this anime. So that's, again, really heartbreaking. There's one episode where he tried to stay away from Karino, trying to maintain a distance, and we don't really know why. Does he hate Karino now? Like, what's going on? Turns out it's because the onsen, the bathhouse, has closed down, and Kotaro couldn't take any baths, so he thought if he hasn't taken baths and he's dirty, he doesn't want to make other people feel bad. He doesn't want to stink other people. And so he's actually very considerate. There's another skit where he's collecting balloons. He's pretending to be other people because it's one balloon per person. So he comes back for the same bunch of balloons from the same balloon guy, and he's dressed up as a different person. And then he collects all these balloons because he has a habit of using balloons as people and then talking to them and then treating them as real people because he's just that lonely. And every one of these skits are just so heartbreaking and they're so sad. And after you watch it, you just feel so bad. It's comedy, yes. Kotaro's cute, but Jesus. There's one episode that particularly left a strong impression on me, is that he cooks. And I know it doesn't make any sense that a 4-year-old would be able to cook a whole meal, but he cooks a lot of food for himself. And then one day, his neighbors went into his room to have a dinner together, but instead he cooked less. And that's because he purposefully cooked more food and he talks to the food. And he thinks that, food is his friends. So he cooks food and he talks to the food like, "Oh, Mr. Miso Soup, are you feeling tasty today? Oh, Miss tamagoyaki, Miss Egg Omelet, like, are you tasty today?" And he just talks to his food. But then when there are already people in his room, he doesn't need to do that anymore, so he cooks less. And that's really interesting. And another thing this anime does is that it shows Kotaro's current situation and how he's adapting to his life here and how he's changing. And there are several scenes where he goes to his kindergarten, and a lot of other students have very elaborate, fancy, beautiful bento boxes. But he doesn't, because he doesn't have parents, and nobody prepares bento boxes for him. So every morning, or every Wednesday morning or something, he would go to a convenience store to build a bento box himself. And frequent visitors of that convenience store, see that all the time, so they start helping him, and it's just so damn heartwarming. And then there's another skit towards the end of the anime where he, for some reason, Kotaro is a very sensitive boy. He's able to tell if people are crying, but they're trying to hide it, and he's able to tell when people are smiling, but they don't mean it. And so he noticed that his kindergarten teacher is forcing a smile on herself because she's really tired, but she has a smile in front of kids because it's her job. And Kotaro just points that out. And throughout the anime, Kotaro also inspires the people around him, whether it be adults who have parental troubles or children who also have troubles with their parents. There's a manga manager Karino is a manga artist, and there's this manga manager who's like, ha ha ha. And Kotaro found out that the manga manager has kids, and he's like, "What are you still doing here on a weekend? Go home and see your kids right now." And then there's a scam artist, there's a scammer who's a divorced dad, and he's just trying to scam people. And he's tried to scam Kotaro over a phone. And then Kotaro is like, "Your voice reminds me of my dad's. Can you use the same voice and tell me you're doing well?" And the scam artist, because he actually has kids, he was sort of inspired by it, and he doesn't want to scam people anymore. He just wants to go home and see his kids. And then I think near the end of the anime, there's a football player in his football team, and he has self-esteem issues because his parents yell at him all the time, and so he acts mean towards others as well. Sort of a relayed anger, And instead, Kotaro holds his hand and says, "It's okay. No one's mad at you." And yeah, throughout the whole anime, Kotaro rarely smiles, but whenever someone says something encouraging to him, his eyes just light up. And that's awesome. And I love episode 8, where throughout the entire episode, this is one of the rare moments in the anime where all the skits have a central concept, and that is a private detective moves into the apartment complex, pretending to be just a neighbor, just a regular neighbor. And what's beautiful is that the private detective was gonna betray Kotaro and reveal Kotaro's actual address to his actual biological father, who is abusive. But at the end of the day, the private detective didn't do that because he has been a victim of abuse himself, and he would rather do the right thing than to do his job. So yeah, in this anime, every single character is good, and every single character is redeemed one way or the other. And even though this anime it's not super dramatic and showy or anything, but that's what makes it even better because it's actually very mature. It looks at these very mature things, like again, victims of abuse, handling trauma, shit like that. And it's not only Kotaro. Pretty much every single character, every single major character in this anime has some sort of issue they're dealing with, whether it be an abusive boyfriend, running out of money, or a divorce, relationship problems. It's very mature, but yet this anime uses a childlike angle to view these issues. And one of the skits is turns out Kotaro has a brother from the orphanage. And they sort of hang out, and that's it. And previously, this character is never mentioned before, and after that skit, the character is almost never mentioned again. And the anime treats it like it's nothing. And I think that's because the anime actually treats it like it's something, but from a very mature standpoint. So yeah, it's beautiful. And then also I believe at the end of episode 8 or no, the private detective was episode 6. Episode 8 features a departure of a certain character, and I just can't fucking believe it. I can't believe that the mangaka, the writer of this anime, would just take out a character like that. What? But I, in a way, also really appreciate it because it's realistic. In real life, people just go like that. And no, they don't die, but they just leave. And their storylines sort of remain unresolved. Yeah, and the last kid is just incredibly heartbreaking. It's just left a very strong impression on me. So yeah, and it's just really sad that there's a genre of anime called childcare, a la Spy Family, because the rate of fertility and the population is just going down so fast in Japan right now that they're actually pumping out animes and mangas right now that encourage people to have children and be in relationships, and it's just so sad. And I feel like it's not just Japan. I feel like it's a huge thing in East Asia as well, and in the world as well, but particularly East Asia, where people in my generation, just refuse to be in relationships, and people a little older in the older generation just refuse to have children, and it's just very heartbreaking. But yeah, that's exactly what makes this anime kind of significant. And I usually don't enjoy comedy slice of life animes all that much, but this one is really inspiring and heartbreaking and beautiful and damn. I'm giving Kotaro Lives Alone a strong 8 to a light 9 out of 10. So, have you watched Kotaro Lives Alone? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.